All right, friends, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Swadik Mayanja, but you can call me Q, and yes, I am Q, the nurse. But today, this is special. We do every Friday, I do the nursing news. Every Sunday, I do the Everyday Hero show. I think this is a little bit of both. So to introduce my guest this week, it's Nora Watts. She's the treasurer of the Massachusetts Nurses Association. So that's the portion. And she is a nurse, a long-time nurse, and she'll explain all the different types of nursing she has done. That's important, because that's the Everyday Hero portion of this. The nursing news portion of this is question 1 here in Massachusetts. It's about to happen with like 60 days out, 40 days. It's in November.
66 days, I think.
Exactly. It's close. It's upcoming. Today is, what's today's date? September 2nd?
Correct.
Today is September 2nd, so whenever you're watching this is the time I'm getting the information. And she's here to talk about question 1. So please, real quick, just tell us who are you and when did you start nursing, and then how did you get to the point where you're part of the MNA?
Where I'm part of the MNA?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time history also.
Please, we got all day.
I moved to Massachusetts in 1970 to study at Northeastern University. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science with honor in 1975, and actually was part of the group that started the Sigma Theta Tau Honor Society at Northeastern. I'm proud of that fact, too.
You should be.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things. I've worked, initially, after leaving school, I worked in women's health at preterm. I was motivated to do that because of the loss of a friend of mine to an illegal abortion sometime before that, so it motivated me to work in women's health. In terms of my activism, the first time I testified before the Massachusetts State Legislature was on women's issues back in 1980, about 2 weeks before my own daughter was born. I've worked as a staff nurse at the Newton-Wellesley Hospital since 1983. Having a 3-year-old, I needed to change things and worked evenings for a while. I started on a big geriatric unit. I did that for a couple of years, and it actually transitioned to a special amenities unit, and then when I needed a day job again, when my daughter was in school, I went to work in oncology. So I spent a long time working on an inpatient oncology unit, and then due to rearrangements at the hospital, ended up getting a job at the outpatient infusion center, where I've worked ever since. Initially did a lot of chemotherapy there too, and now the focus is more broad-based. I recover post-invasive procedures from the radiology department at time. I give a lot of blood transfusions to people who have cancer and other medical problems, and I treat people with rheumatoid arthritis, say, and immune deficiencies, all kinds of stuff. I never know what I'm going to get. Yeah, and I still work full-time.
Nora, just wowzers, all right? Just wowzers. So, first of all, we are going to get into question, but I have to say, that right there sounds very similar to a lot of experienced nurses' experience. It's just because being a nurse, you do get to do a lot of different things.
Yes.
Nursing has its hand in a little bit of everything, and it's so nice to hear, because as a young nurse, I feel like every day I go to work, I love where I work. I love the tele, I love the heart, but every single day I feel like, oh my God, maybe I should be in the ICU, maybe I should be in chemo, maybe I should be in L&D. I feel like I'm missing out, but the opportunities are there, and time will tell. So
time will tell what you decide you like to do.
It's really nice to hear that you have had, sometimes not by choice, but you were able to spread. So let's talk about you. So you said that the first time you did any type of activism was for women's
rights.
Health.
Yeah, women's health.
Well, wonderful. How did that, and how was it right after that you joined the MNA? Were you always a member of the MNA?
No,
how did you get into that?
That happened in 83 when I went to work at Newton-Wellesley Hospital. Those nurses had organized their union in 1980. Actually, I watched their strike.
Newton-Wellesley is unionized?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Did not know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually watched their strike, their recognition strike, on the TV when I was at Beth Israel Hospital having my daughter. So I knew about it. And then when I decided to change the focus of my career, and really that had to do as much with my family as with anything else, as a condition of employment, I became a member of the Massachusetts Nurses Association.
Okay.
My activism within the association came about a little less than 2 years later, when the hospital management unilaterally changed our health insurance coverage, and I felt like that was a problem. So I felt compelled to become involved on the local level in order to protect the rights and the health insurance rights for me,
Yes.
my family, and the nurses I was working.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow,
so
okay.
that's how I started. Yeah.
Okay. And then ever since you've been a member, when did it come from I'm a member to I'm part of, like, now you're the treasurer?
Yeah.
Or when did that switch happen?
That was a couple of years later, due to a dear friend asking me to come to a meeting and to find out what was going on with the leadership at the MNA. And I went to this meeting, and I was intrigued and interested and impressed with the level of advocacy that was happening in the association, both for patients and for nurses.
Yes.
And then once involved, it made perfect sense to me to continue to be involved.
Once you're in there, might as well do something, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just going to
and
the meeting.
And truly the staffing issue,
Exactly.
which became increasingly complex
Definitely.
in the 90s.
And that's the reason she's here. The transition was phenomenal. She's done this before, obviously.